Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salam ala Rasulihil Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Yesterday I said you didn't have your Weetabix. Today looks like you had just one slice. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. That's a lot better. That's a lot better. Now listen, they've only given me 15 minutes to tell you something that could take me 15 hours, is the reality. But do me a favor, try and keep with me on this presentation, inshallah, and I'll try and make it as interactive as possible. But believe me, by the end of these 15 minutes, you'll agree with me, this is one of the most important 15 minutes of your life, having seen this presentation, inshallah. Now let me ask you two questions. The first question is this: how many of you in this room are sick and tired of the negative press against the Muslim community? Put your hand up. Put two hands up if you can't take it anymore. Plenty of us. Now let me ask you a second question. How many of you feel the Muslim view is underrepresented in the political framework? Put your hand up. Okay, well in that case, here's your chance to make a difference, right? Are you going to take your chance? Let's hear inshallah. Okay, so look, this is what Engage is all about. The PowerPoint should be coming up on your screen any second now. The reality is this: in a second or so, when these images come up, 3 images will come up on the screen. Can you see them behind me? Okay, look at the image on the extreme left-hand side. What do you think that is? No one know? It's a masjid being firebombed. What would happen if you were praying salah at the time at which that mosque was firebombed? Have a look at the picture on the right. There's someone who's had a fist in their jaw. Do you know who that is? That's the Imam of Real Masjid, who for being a Muslim was whacked in the face and needed many, many stitches. Have a look at the picture beneath both of those. Do you know what that is? That's the BNP, the British National Party, campaigning for no mosque in that area. But you know what the surprise is these days? It's not just the BNP who campaign for no mosques in the area. If you logged onto Downing Street's website, 278,000 people registered not to have the mega mosque in London. Over 250,000 people. The BNP don't have that many members, brothers and sisters. There's an active attempt here to demonize the Muslim community. And that's what you need to focus on over the next few minutes. Because the point here is this: we have to ask ourselves the question, who's to blame? If imams are getting punched in the face, if mosques are being firebombed, if 250,000 people are signing a petition to get rid of a mosque in your area, the question is, who's to blame? Who do you think should be blamed? Do you think it should be politicians? Do you think it should be the media? Tell me, who do you think we should blame? Media, sister at the front saying, who else? Politicians, you say. Let's put everyone on trial very, very quickly and tell me what you think. Well, let's have a look at what the media's got to say. Have a look at these two images. One from The Sun, one from The Express. Muslim law is here in Britain. Beware of those women in scarves and those men in beards. They're here to get you. It might as well have said. Can you see how antagonistic the headline is? Can you see how antagonistic it is? Yeah? Look on the right-hand side. Remember when the Archbishop made his comments about Sharia law? Look at the headline. What a burqa. Instead of what a burq, what a burqa is what they're trying to say. So, do you think the media could be at fault? Say yes or no. Maybe. Let's move on. Who else could be at fault here? How about politicians and foreign policy? Well, have a look at the images I've got to show you now. There's 3 images here. Have a look at the screen. You remember the war in Iraq, when 100,000 brothers and sisters of yours have died, unfortunately lost their lives? Well, the first image is about the war in Iraq. The second one, second left, is somebody being buried in Afghanistan. And the one on the right is, well, an iconic image from Palestine, David against Goliath, right? A stone in the hand of a Palestinian child with a tank advancing. So do you think it could be politicians and foreign policy which has got us to where we are? Yes or no? I would say to you, maybe. Carry on and you'll see. Maybe the next group of individuals, which is the right-wing journalists and the BNP, could be at fault. Have a look very quickly at these 2 pictures. There's a man here by the name of Rod Little. He used to be the editor of the Today program. Now listen to what he says about you and me. It's the core ideology of Islam that is the problem, not a handful of incendiary preachers. What do we as Muslims say every time there's a bombing? Someone straps a bomb under a train or a bus. We say the majority of us, we're fine. It's the extreme minority where the problem lies. So this man is telling everyone, don't believe the Muslims. The problem is with Islam. That's the problem. Not a handful of preachers. Have a look at this poster, the next one. The Londoner, can you see that from where you are? This is a BNP poster. It says the changing face of London. At the top, you've got London about 100 years ago. At the bottom, you've got what London apparently looks like now, which is Muslim women in niqab sticking fingers up. On the right-hand side, you notice betraying Britain's Christian heritage. So these are the tactics of the BNP. And if we move on to the next slide, you'll see something shocking. Have a look at this graph. In 2005, do you know how many councillors the BNP had? About 20. Do you know how many they've got now? Or they had in a couple of years from then? 52. If that trend continues, have a look at the graph and you'll see how popular and powerful the BNP is.